Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I am your host as usual, and obviously welcome back to the show. Today's episode 199 of the show, and before we get started, I'm going to do a house cleaning quick because, well, you guys know I like to do it around here, so let's just get on with the house cleaning. I do want to say thank you guys for coming back and, well, listening to the show, for downloading them, for sharing the episodes. To me, I know I don't deserve any of this, so I'm greatly appreciative that you guys allow me to have a piece of your time. And you guys like listening to my opinion when we talk about this kind of stuff. Personally, I've enjoyed this entire year because, well, the time that this episode goes live, it's going to be the 29th of December. So we're almost winding down this year. And, well, it's also episode 199. I will say this now. We will do episode 200 to end off the year. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But for now, thank you guys so much for your time, for, well, listening to this episode, for allowing me to have a piece of your time. And to be honest, also thank you to the Patreon backers for supporting the show. You guys are greatly appreciated, especially because, well, you've supported me for another year, so I greatly appreciate that. But today's episode is going to be more of a recap, and we're going to do two recaps. This one's going to be the tech recap, and we'll talk about the other one a little bit later down, like at the end of the episode. But we're going to be talking about the recap of tech and trends in technology and things that have happened this year. And for me, it's been a very interesting year for tech, given the fact that, well, the GPU shortage, the whole, processor shortage, a shortage for pretty much almost everything that you like, and trying to get almost any piece of technology that you like. And it's been a wild year. But I think for me, there have been some tech goodies that have stuck out, and I want to talk about those briefly before we talk about trends that have, well, happened this year as well. I'd say the first piece of tech that really sticks out to me, I started off the year with the phones, because I know this year I ended up upgrading after, having my, I think it was my, what was it? Yes, I think it was my OnePlus, my 7 Pro that I updated from that. And then I got I had the S20 Ultra, and then I went to the Pixel 5, and then something happened with that, which we won't talk about, but I ended up getting the S21 Ultra. I started off with the S21 and then went to the Ultra for the better battery life. And, well, it just wasn't as good as I expected it to be. The battery life was pretty bad, and it generated too much heat for my liking, which made sense given the Snapdragon 888. That was one of the chips that were notorious for thermal throttling. Well, besides thermal throttling, we're just generally running hot. And, well, that's why companies had to find different ways to deal with that processor because, well, it was running pretty hot, homie. Not gonna lie. But I'd say overall, the phone that I've been very pleased with for the entire year has been the iPhone SE. And to be honest, I've really been enjoying it. This is my first iPhone I've had since the iPhone 6S. And I've been really pleased with the experience. Like, granted, I have the battery case on this. I've had it since day one, since I've gotten it. And I've really been enjoying it. Like, I prefer having Touch ID than Face ID. It's more reliable. You guys can try to argue with me with that. Touch ID is more reliable, always have been, always will be. And I've really just been enjoying my time with the phone. It's just sticking with basics. Like, I don't need something. Well, yeah, it is clearly a powerful phone. The main drawback was the battery life. But with the battery case, it's pretty much mitigated, and it does everything I want it to do. Now, if everything goes a little bit differently next year with the iPhone 14, I might consider upgrading from it, but we'll just have to wait and see. Another, ironically, an Apple product that came out this year that I've been genuinely pleased with was the iPad mini. I've been very happy. I've been very vocal and adamant that the iPad mini was my favorite iPad in the lineup right now. That it generally, with the size and what you get out of it, I genuinely felt that it was the better iPad for the people that wanted that smaller form factor, for the people that didn't want the bigger size of, say, like the 11-inch or the 12.9-inch, but still wanted a good performance. And the mini overall fit that bill for me. I primarily use it for watching content or doing my yoga or, doing workouts on Apple Fitness. That was another big thing. We'll talk about that in later. But the iPad mini genuinely was one of my favorite products made this year by Apple, and I give them a lot of praise for it because it genuinely was a good tablet, and I was very happy and very pleased with it, and I still enjoy using it. I would say another piece of tech that really just took off for me this year was the Xbox Series X. I did my review for it, the 1-year review, and the fact of having it for over a year and just seeing how it's progressed throughout this entire year with how the games have been running, the optimizations, all the new features for a lot of the games that I play. And it's just, the Series X definitely shined this year, and I can only see it getting better as time goes on. Personally, it's been a very good year for Xbox. It's been a good year for people that were fortunate enough to even get a Series X or Series S. Yes, the supply chain issues are still a pain in the butt. We're not going to pretend that it's not an issue, because it really is a big issue. But I've been genuinely pleased with it. I've been very happy with the performance. I've been enjoying it, and it's been doing everything that I wanted to do. Another piece of tech that came out of left field, I would say, was the Oculus Quest 2. I've been very happy with my experience owning an Oculus Quest 2. I haven't done a review or anything about it, or talking about my experience using it. But I would say, in layman's terms, it's been a very pleasant experience. Yes, I don't appreciate the whole stuff of Facebook. I'm not going to lie. But for people's first entry into VR, or at least people that want to take that step into VR, I think the Quest 2 is an amazing piece of hardware. I've been very, very thoroughly happy with it. And I haven't been using it recently since I've been at the house because I've been so busy. But I've genuinely been enjoying it. And I'm excited to keep using it and seeing what happens as time goes on. But another piece of another piece of tech that really stuck out to me this year, that made it back into my daily routine, if you want to call it that, was the Nintendo DS, or primarily my DS Lite and my 3DS XL, the new 3DS XL. And it's been crazy, the fact of using these consoles again, or handhelds, but they're also consoles, but they're handhelds. To be honest, it's been a very enjoyable experience, just really using them again, playing games, actually having physical games as well. Granted, yes, trying to get some physical games, some specific ones like the Pokemon games, or in my case, the Mega Man Star Force series, because I love the Mega Man Star Force series, are a pain in the butt to get. But thanks to emulation and modding, what a beautiful thing, emulation, right? Where you can basically get all these games for free and you don't have to worry about it. And it's basically the same thing as the original, just you don't have it physically. But to me, using the 3DS again in 2021 has been I'd say it's been an amazing time. I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying just playing my games on the go, trying out new games that I've never tried out before, playing games with my friends. It's just been a very good experience, and I've been very pleased with it. And getting them was actually pretty easy. My DS Lite, I got it for under $100, and it's I forgot which one. It's the Legend of Zelda Triforce. It's one of the special editions for the 3DS or the DS Lite, and it's a really good one in amazing condition. All the buttons work. The screens are perfect. Everything works perfectly fine. Battery life is still good. The battery is still good to begin with. And the 3DS XL, I got the Galaxy one, and I got it at a local pawn shop, so I didn't have to pay the super premium prices. I slapped on a skin, made it unique, put a hard case, screen protectors, did all the usual song and dance routine. And then I modded both of them, or homebrewed the 3DS, and then for the DS Lite to use the R4 Gold cards for that. And I've been very, very happy with it. I've just been loving them to death, and it's just a good way to really just step away from my phone and just enjoy something that's not my phone, and don't look at social media and take a break from it. I'd say another piece of tech that really stuck out to me. I know it's not really a piece of tech, even though, yes, it goes onto my camera, but I want to talk about it, which is the Fuji 33 f1.4 and my Godox flashes and flash triggers. I've just been... Okay, I'm going to gush over camera a little bit right now. The 33-1.4 is one of my favorite lenses that has ever been made for the Fuji lens system. For the Fuji X mount, that lens is a must-have. I will say it. I like it better than the 3314. I know a lot of people that, people that like Fuji will swear and die by the 3314. They'll say it's one of the most optically perfect lenses ever made. It just has amazing character. Yes, its autofocus is pretty slow as piss, but it's still like its image quality, like it has this style to it that can't be replicated. And I'm like, well, yeah, I still think the 3314 is better due to the fact that it is a clean 50 millimeters. When you do the 33 times 1.5, it's a clean 50 and it's a 1.4 and it has faster autofocusing. To be honest, I like it better. I like it better than the 3514. And the flash trigger is just really, like, they got it for me for Christmas, but I've just been loving it to absolute death and using it. Just using my flashes, being more comfortable using flash photography and just that stuff. The flashes, man, just really using them, man. They're units, bro. I'm telling you this right now. I've been loving using my flashes, and I feel more comfortable using flashes for a lot of my shoots going forward, especially when I need even lighting or I need something specifically done. But if I do want to transition a little bit into, say, some things here and there that came out this year that I personally have never owned, but I have some opinions on it. The first thing I want to talk about is the Nintendo Switch OLED. I will still stand by this. If you already have a current Switch, the Switch OLED is a pointless upgrade. It absolutely is worthless, and I don't think it should exist. And I will say this for people that are brand new Switch owners and you got the OLED, then I think it's I think it's great. I just personally still believe that the OLED, it just proves it time and time again because of the chip shortage. The OLED was supposed to be the Switch Pro. It was supposed to have a new processor. It was supposed to be, a new screen, the OLED with a new processor so that the Switch could be more powerful. We've seen time and time again, especially with breakdowns and people have been doing some inside messing around with the Switch OLED, that yes, this was going to be the upgraded Switch Pro that everyone was waiting on, but because of the chip shortage, well, we didn't get that, so they just pumped it out with the OLED screen and called it a day. And it's kind of showing now the fact that you can find an OLED in a store. Like you can walk into a Walmart or any store and just buy it right then and there and not have to deal with scalpers. So that's just my opinion still. I still think the Switch OLED is stupid. I think that they should have just held on it. I think they really should have just held on to it because, yeah, an update for the Switch wasn't needed this year. That thing is still selling hotcakes, homie. Still making tons of money, especially because you got good games coming. Another thing would be the iPhone 13 Pros and the iPhone 13s in general. I'd say a back to form, and at least Apple realizing like, hey, maybe making these phones thinner is not a good idea. We probably should make them thicker and actually put bigger batteries in them, because adding 5G to the 12s absolutely tanked their battery life and made them do. Especially when we're comparing to the iPhone 11 series and the 11 Pros, which had amazing battery life, and then you go to the Pro or the 12 series, and well, we see how that turned out, homie. It was pretty bad. And the 13, I still say the new battery life was great. I think the smaller notch is also greatly appreciated. I think the 120 hertz was finally appreciated because it should have been on the 12. But overall, I think this was a good year for Apple, and hopefully going into 2022, they finally get rid of that damn notch, because if the rumors are true and the rumor mill is chugging, because it always is, yes, I hope that the notch is removed in the iPhone 14s. I really hope they are, because if they are, I will upgrade guaranteed. I'd say another, I almost forgot about this bad boy, didn't I? I almost let this out. I know we're talking about tech that I didn't own this year, but that I have thoughts on. I do own this one, so I apologize for that. The Acer Swift X. A beautiful laptop for $1,000. I'm telling you this right now. For $1,000, if you want a Windows machine, let me emphasize that, a Windows machine, it is the best $1,000 Windows machine you can buy. It has a great processor. I think it has a 5800U. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM, clocked at around 4266 megahertz. It has a 512 gigabyte SSD already inside, but it has an expandable slot, so you can add it. So I added a 1 terabyte drive into it, along with the 512 boot drive that it already had. It has a 3050 Ti, which, it's not supposed to be a gaming laptop. This is literally just a student or a more productivity focused, well, I wouldn't say productivity, but just more of a actual daily use laptop that does everything you want it to. It has good horsepower, and it can do video editing. It can do photo editing. Like, one thing that does suck a little bit is the fact that the RAM is not upgradable. The fact that it is soldered on the board, which does suck. But for $1,000, I do think this laptop is a great value. It's a great display. Sure, it's not like the big 140 hertz because the whole point of the laptop is supposed to be like an everyday use laptop. It has great battery life. I am easily getting at least over 8 hours every single day on this sucker. And granted, it's not perfect. There's obviously clearly issues, in terms, like, if you want to talk about like build quality, I think the build quality is solid. It's not like out of this world like the MacBooks, which we will talk about them a little bit right now. But for $1,000, if you don't want a MacBook Air and you want to stick with Windows, I think this is a great laptop. I personally enjoyed it and I recommend it to a lot of people. I've been thoroughly recommending it because of how good it is, and just the value you get out of it is just, it's just insane. But speaking of the MacBooks, this could be argued the year of the Mac, whether it be the iMac or primarily the new MacBooks, the 14-inch and the 16-inch with the new processors. I still think those laptops are overkill for everyday users. I still think if you're not a working professional, you should not buy one of these new MacBooks. And I'll even go a step further. Even if you're a working professional, I still don't think you need it. Well, it depends on your workflow. It heavily depends. Because like I said, at the end of the day, these are tools. If they do your job, great. If they make your job easier to do, great. If they're just a luxury buy, why are you buying it? Like I look at all these people saying, oh yeah, bro, I'm gonna go buy this. But I don't really need to buy it. I just want to buy it because it's the best laptop ever. And I'm like, well, no, it's not, because in terms of battery life, it's a good laptop. It has great battery life, amazing battery life. I'll say it right now, amazing battery life. That doesn't mean that you're the targeted buyer and that you will properly use this machine to what it's supposed to be used for. Like if you're doing heavy video editing, heavy photo editing, and granted, if you're trying to game on a Mac, you're dumb. I'm sorry. Gaming on Mac is stupid. It is a joke. It is not what the Macs are designed for. These are productivity or primarily content creation machines. These are designed to create media and content, not to play video games. And yes, there's still issues that I have with the M1 processor, and still with the whole M1 architecture, and still with the whole like optimizations with Mac. That, yeah, I like macOS. I don't think macOS is terrible. I don't think it's for everybody, and we should make this very clear that it's not for everybody. I hope everyone's okay with this, that macOS isn't the be-all end-all, guys. It's not perfect. It can't do everything. You have to get over it and stop like being Apple bootlickers. I will also say this too. It's the same thing with like the iPhone 13s, is that everyone's saying, oh yeah, bro, the iPhone 13, best phone ever, bro. Like, best phone, bro. No debate. Yeah, besides like the whole, the S21 Ultra, the OnePlus 9 Pro, people have been talking about that Vivio phone that I've been seeing a lot about, or the Sony phones as well, like the Sony Xperia I. Well, it's not really out yet, but people are like doing comparisons with it. And the Pixel 6, oh my god, the Pixel 6, that phone, I was very happy. Like, we already knew everything about it, like it was already leaked to death, but just seeing it in the real world made me very happy. I was like, I'm glad that this is where the Pixel is going. It's a beautiful phone, beautiful hardware, beautiful experience. It's an amazing phone that I recommend to a lot of people. I recommend the Pixel 6 over the Pro, unless you really need the telephoto lens, and well, go right ahead. I just tell people, to me, it's a beautiful phone, and it's a step in the right direction for Google. Another piece of hardware that I've been enjoying this year, I will also add, is my 3070. I've been very pleased with the performance gain from my 2060 Super. It is definitely a big gain, whether it be for editing the show, recording the show, and playing my games. I've been very pleased with the experience of having a 3070. I'm realistically not going to upgrade for a couple years. I'm probably due for a processor upgrade pretty soon. Maybe, I don't know. Like, depending on how things turn out with the 6000 series, or what is the new platform for AMD going forward, I definitely want to keep an eye out for that. Well, it's kind of my job, so I kind of have to. But I'm really excited for that. I'd say another thing that I've been keeping my eyes on is also camera, because obviously cameras are also pieces of tech. It's been a good year for cameras. The Sony a7 IV, the Sony a1, the Nikon Z9, the Canon R3. Like, bruh, like, especially the Nikon. I will say this now. I never liked Nikon. I always dogged on Nikon, but I'll give them that. The Z9, yeah, I think it was, in terms of cameras, the better camera that came out this year. Yes, I get it. People say, oh, bro, the A1, bro, is the best camera ever, bro. Perfect camera. I'm like, not perfect, homie. There's still people that don't like the grips of the Sony cameras because they still are a little bit too small. People like the more professional like grip. They like the feel and the look of the Z9 or the R3. I'm excited to see where the Z9 goes going forward, especially with updates and stuff like that and new lenses being added to the Z mount. But I think the Z9 is what's going to bring Nikon back into the fold of actually being legitimate competition. And to be honest, Fuji has me very excited going forward, especially with the new processor. That if that new sensor and new processor really bring it up to like Sony or Canon level autofocus, bro, I'm not switching from Fuji after that, homie. Like, I already like my Fuji right now for photography. I love it. I've been using it. I've told people this multiple times. I shoot on a Fuji. If you don't like that, get over it. My Fuji X-T4 is amazing. I love the quality I get out of it, and my lenses are beautifully and optically, well, perfect. They're amazing lenses. And I've been very pleased with my experience, and I'm excited to see where Fuji goes going forward, especially in the next year. But outside of that, I do want to end a little bit on some trends that I've not been too happy about, or at least I'm happy about in the gaming space. And one of these things, or not just gaming, but I say tech specifically, if we want to focus on tech. And one of them is, folding phones. They're doing better. They're definitely in a much better place in terms of durability and quality control with them. I'm very pleased with how they are right now. They're in a good place. They're truly, like, especially the Z Fold 3. That one, the Galaxy Z Fold 3 definitely held its weight this year as a great phone. I still think foldables are stupid. I still don't think they're the future. I think that this is just a gimmick that's going to die off eventually. But for a good showing this year, it was a great showing. I'm not going to lie, and I'll gladly admit that. Another trend in tech is like the whole crypto mining and just where GPUs are right now. Yeah, it's not a good look, guys. It's really bad. Like, crypto mining definitely ruined a lot of things, and I get it. Like, people are like, well, bro, they're still buying them, so it's like, hey, these companies don't care, they're making money. And I'm like, well, yeah, still the majority of your market share or majority of your customers don't have one and they want one. And it's just, I think this year is starting to make people realize, like, hey, maybe upgrading every single year is not a good idea. Like, just being honest, maybe upgrading every single year is not reasonably stable and maintainable. Like, maybe ain't the best thing to do, like, maybe isn't the best thing. And I hope people start to realize that as like a trend going forward, is like maybe holding out your parts longer is a good thing and you get more out of it in the long run. And yeah, that's how it should be. Now, overall, I'd say this year, given the whole shortages, given the whole, weird stuff going on in the world, I think it's been a good year for tech. I think the tech space is in a very peculiar space right now where, it just feels like a lot of stuff seems very repetitive, where, there's a lot of rumors going around, or it's kind of hard to, say, get products that people are reviewing, and, people are upset about that because they're like, well, why are you reviewing this product if I can't even get my hands on it to begin with? So what's the point of reviewing it? And overall, it's been a good year. I'm very happy with a lot of the pieces of tech that came out this year, and also pieces of tech that I revisited this year and have started using more and will use more going forward. But it's been a good year, guys. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below if you're watching on YouTube. Like, what was your favorite piece of tech that came out this year? Was there anything that stuck out, or was there anything that, disappointed you? Was there anything that, maybe you're excited for next year? But overall, it's been a good year. I also know that I kind of skipped over EVs because I know some people say this was a good year, but personally, with how EVs are right now, it's like it's a weird spot where I know everyone's buying Teslas, everyone's ordering Rivians, like the Ford F1 Lightning and, stuff like that. And I'm just like, guys, let's just give it a little bit. It still needs to mature. We're clearly seeing the birth pains of, like, this is a new market that is clearly developing more and more as time goes on. And it still needs a little bit more work, which is reasonable and expected. Let's just be honest here. It needs more work. But overall, it's been a good year. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. At least me talking about some of these, I'd say, trends and pieces of tech that I really liked this year and that really stuck out to me. But I do want to give a little bit of a heads up, since we are doing 2 episodes this week. So episode 200 will come out on December 31st. So it will be the last episode of the year, and it will be my recap of just personal life, of me just recapping this year on a personal level and really just thinking about it and just taking just time to be honest and open about it, because I know that's what I like doing here. Is I like being open, I like being transparent and just talking about, what's on my mind, because I feel like whenever I do things like that or discussions like that, it really helps a lot of people, and a lot of people feel encouraged by it. And I always like doing it because it's just a way to encourage other people by using my story as an example, because that's the best way that people can really connect to one another, is when you understand others' stories. When you can understand somebody else's story and share stories with people, that's really the best way to really bond and connect with people, is sharing stories. And that's how you really get to know somebody. So I'm excited to do that episode. It will be on Friday, so I hope you guys enjoy. But I hope you guys continue to take care of yourselves. Please continue to take care of those around you, because the world is still a weird place, guys. Please continue to have yourselves a wonderful week, and I will be seeing you guys Friday. But as always, don't do anything dumb, guys. And I will see you guys soon. Bye, guys.
Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.